Welcome everyone to episode 5 of WhimsyClan, Growing Pains. Our first death of the year was the 7-moon-old Songpaw. He had been sharing food with a kit fox who was honestly very polite for a fox when some unseen predator hit him from behind, killing him. The unlucky Frostpaw continued to have a streak of tough moons. Though she was honored for her fierceness, earning the name of Frost Snarl, she could not always live up to her name in terms of physical strength. She got into a fight with a rogue, permanently damaging her foreleg, and then she managed to step on a venomous spider, which killed her. Tall Apple died very bravely, defending one of his apprentices from a dog. The talented young warrior had discovered that he had quite the knack for teaching, something he picked up from his own mentor, Fierceby, and he became a mentor to multiple of his own younger siblings. This year we lost one of our medicine cats, Chirp Mimic. She was buried alive in a landslide. Although she was at times a vain and difficult cat to put up with, the clan greatly mourned her loss. She was especially mourned by Hyacinth, her child. The two had been having spats as of late, so Hyacinth feels very guilty. Citrus Spirit was living up to her lively name this year, constantly trying to explore and talk to cats across the borders. There were even rumors that she was flirting with a few other clans, mostly a handsome Tom from Smoke Clan and a blossoming young Molly in Ant Clan. Sadly, this friendliness didn't always pay off, as she also made an enemy in a loner. One day, while the two of them were scuffling, they both strayed too close to the Thunder Path and got hit by a monster. Pigeon Paw proved to be a bold and rash tomcat, always the first to leap forward and try to defend his clan. At one point this year, he was briefly stolen away by Two Legs, though he did return only a few days later. He really looked up to Orange Juice and was always trying to make the deputy notice him. Unfortunately, his insistence on being seen got him into trouble, as it led him to stray too far out on a branch, and the branch snapped and he fell to his death. Splotchfeather had a difficult year. She was still mourning the losses of some of her kittens, and just when she was starting to feel better, she got picked up by Two Legs. Although the clan tried to search for her many times, they were never able to find her, and they didn't know what happened to her until her mate, Tornpelt, found her dead on the Thunder Path. Last, but certainly not least, we had to say goodbye to one of my very favorite characters. This year we lost Specklebug. She died of yellow cough. Before her death, she and her mate, Flurry, adopted 5 kittens, all of which she named after bugs. I'm really gonna miss this little weirdo. But of course, life goes on, so now we can talk about the living cats. Snowstar had a tough start to the year. She gave birth to a litter of 4 kittens, but half of them were stillborn, and on top of that, she lost one of her lives. This, along with the many deaths the clan has faced in the past few years, has made the leader sometimes wonder if she's making the wrong choices. Still, she's trying to soldier on, and has taken up the youngest of Specklebug and Flurry Moss's children, a she-cat named Butterfly Paw, as her apprentice. The stress of acting as a deputy, a mate, and a father all at the same time have started to weigh on poor Orange Juice. This year he found himself being more snappy even towards his apprentice and some of his children. It's really hard having to be the strong one all the time. Though he did have some really sweet moments this year, especially with Mimosa Stream. One day he was the loudest one cheering for his kits, and in another moment, Snowstar nuzzled up to him to comfort him when he had failed to catch her favorite prey and was beating himself up about it. He's just such a sweet guy. As you know, poor Hyacinth's year has come with bittersweet feelings, namely surrounding the death of his mother, Chirp Mimic. He had been fighting with her a lot as of late, and was honestly not happy to be sharing a den with her. But then, when she died, Hyacinth felt cold and alone. She was the only biological family he had left. Now, he's got nobody. Hyacinth's apprentice, Sweet Lemon, has tried his best to be a comfort. Sweet Lemon cares deeply for Hyacinth, and actually sees the older medicine cat as a potential mate. But Hyacinth has shown no sign that they would ever feel the same. Sweet Lemon has just tried to content himself with this, as he fears losing some of that platonic closeness that they've got. A somewhat unlikely pairing arose among the younger cats in the clan, as the young medicine cat Icicle Drop has fallen head over heels with her apprenticehood friend, Marble Bounce. The two of them became close when Marble was in the medicine cat den, recovering from injuries she received fighting a fox. Icicle Drop had to teach her new girlfriend how to walk with a new sense of balance, as the black and white warrior lost her tail. Something I do think is a little bit funny about this is that last year, when Marble was still a kit, she was supposedly daydreaming about what it would be like to have a fish for a tail. And now, she's missing her tail and has a girlfriend who has been described as a fish-like swimmer. The oldest of Flurry Moss and Specklebug's adoptive children is Aphid Paw. Aphid Paw had always been more interested in picking flowers than play fighting, so it was little surprise when the young tomcat said he wanted to be a healer. He's already a real cutie, and I think he's going to be a great medicine cat. All of his traits point towards it, with his compassion, good listening, and helpful nature. As I'm sure you could only imagine, Flurry Moss is not taking the loss of Specklebug well. Not only was Specklebug her mate and the adoptive mother of their litter of foundling kittens, but she was also Flurry Moss's best friend. Since her mate died, Flurry Moss has been cold and isolated, not even talking that much to her adoptive children. At 10 years old, Taco Bell is the oldest cat in the clan, and he's starting to feel it. At one point this year, he had planned to retire. He had been thinking maybe at the end of this year. Indeed, the thought had actually crossed his mind a few times that when it came time for him to retire, he may even try to find two legs to move back in with, because he honestly missed the comforts of being a kitty pet. However, that plan has been pushed off because he wants to look after his former apprentice, Twitter Sparrow. She spent over half the year in the medicine den because she got her eyes clawed by a hare. Although she is healing, and it seems that she has been lucky enough that she's not going to lose her vision, Taco Bell still feels very protective over her. Fierce Bee's year has had its troubles, but she has forced herself to focus on what she finds the most important, which is providing for her clan. And that is something that she does exceptionally well. Early in the year, her apprentice, Pigeon Paw, was taken by Two Legs, and she was the first to volunteer to search for him, despite the fact that she already had a place in the clan and thus was not going to be forced to leave. She did succeed in bringing him home in record time, as the two of them made it back in only a moon. Though something about her has felt different ever since she came back. Something she doesn't really understand. She was actually spayed, though she doesn't understand that. I decided to add that as a mechanic for this year, that if a character is taken by Two Legs or goes missing for a little bit, I will roll a dice, and there's a chance that they got fixed as part of a trap neuter release program. The only time I will break this rule is if it's really relevant to the story for them to have kits in the future. Tornpelt spent a vast majority of the year away from the clan. He too had been mourning the losses of his stillborn kits. And then when Splotchfeather got taken by Two Legs, he swore to find her, running away from WhimsyClan in the hopes of tracking her down. He had hoped it wouldn't take that long. Surely he could just find her, bring her back, and that would be that. After all, she'd made it home once before. But now, moons later, he has finally come back, but only because he found her body on the Thunderpath and felt it was only right to bring her home for a proper burial. Tornpelt is honestly only sticking around the clan because he doesn't want to abandon his kids. Though he did already abandon them once, so who knows what'll happen. And, of course, all of this is causing stress for Tornpelt's daughter, Tickpaw. As a kitten, Tick-Kit thought that the reason her parents were sad was because of her missing leg. She didn't understand that she had stillborn siblings. Then, when they both disappeared, she started to resent them. Now she's a bit older, and she understands a little more, but she's honestly not sure how to feel. Part of her wants to be angry, especially at her dad. But she also feels like that would be pointless. So she tries to make the most of an iffy situation. Ripple has come out as non-binary this year. However, instead of taking a one-part name, like Hyacinth or Feather, they instead decided they would lean into the flamboyance of their name. They are now called Raspberry Ripple. They believed it was a fitting tribute to their mothers, who had chosen their name in reference to a two-legged dessert. Shinefreckle is honestly such a chill and laid-back cat, which is a nice break from the high-strung nature of the rest of that family. While most of her siblings compete to do great things or make marks on the world, Shinefreckle is happy to take things slower. This is something she's hoping she'll be able to teach her new apprentice, Spiderpaw, though at the moment he seems more interested in sticking his nose in everything. Next up, we have another seemingly unlikely pair of mates. This is Jade Mandarin and his boyfriend, Missile Launcher. Sometimes I love the names that the game comes up with. The two of them met about halfway through the year when Jade Mandarin saw Missile Launcher being yelled at by his older sister, Fresh Squeeze. Jade decided to check on the loner afterwards to make sure Fresh Squeeze hadn't said anything too harsh, and the two of them hit it off. And it wasn't long before they decided to become mates. And in accordance to WhimsyClan tradition, once someone is your mate, they're free to join the clan. In fact, they're supposed to join the clan. So, here's Missile Launcher, the WhimsyClan warrior. As you may have already guessed, our prickly little Fresh Squeeze was particularly grouchy this year. She flip-flopped between being incredibly sweet and supportive of her siblings to acting as if she was ready to bite their ears off. She was even mean to some of the two-legs she would encounter, stealing sandwiches. Half the time she wouldn't even eat them. She just wanted to take them to prove she could. However, at the end of the year, her spirits have been lifted as she found, adopted, and is now mentoring a young cat by the name of Cassidy. Two of Mimosa and Orange Juice's kids have decided to play a little game of tradesies with their genders this year. First, Clementine Paw came out as a trans guy, which led to him getting the warrior name Darling Clementine, after a song that Snowstar recalled hearing her old two-legs sing. Not too long after, Tangerine came out as a trans girl. She took the name Tangerine Sparkle, a reference to her immaculately groomed pelt. Perhaps the only one of Mimosa Stream and Orange Juice's latest litter to not come out as a member of the LGBT community this year is Thunderblood. Right now, he is recovering from green cough. But, leading up to that, he had been non-stop hunting and defending the clan. I will say, though I make jokes about him being the token straight of the litter, I technically have no proof one way or another, as he's been too busy to consider mates, regardless of gender. It's even possible that he's ace. The two of Orange Juice and Snowstar's kittens that survived the difficult birth at the beginning of the year are the troublesome Flakepaw and Shiverpaw. These two are quite the pawful. Not even a full day after being made an apprentice and assigned to his older half-brother Jade Mandarin, Shiverpaw ran away to become a kitty pet. And although the clan has searched tirelessly for him all year, they have not found a single whisker. Flakepaw, meanwhile, is a fiercely independent Tom, often complaining when cats try to give him advice. He has on a few occasions said he wishes he could run away too. But he always stops himself because he knows that it would hurt his mother more than anyone else, and he can't bear to do that. Now come the last two of Specklebug and Flurry Moss's litter, and the pair that have been the most touched by Specklebug's loss. This is Fleapaw and Beepaw. Although both of them are apprentices, with Fleapaw assigned to Jade Mandarin and Beepaw assigned to Raspberry Ripple, neither of their hearts are really in it. They miss their mom. I bet you might have thought that the bug talk was over. But no. In fact, one could say that our nursery is infested. Near the end of the year, Sweet Lemon found a she-cat who was struggling to give birth. He brought her back to the camp, where she was helped by none other than our favorite girl, Specklebug. Because she was so grateful to Specklebug, and because she wanted to make a new start, the new mother asked for her name to be changed to Bug. She also named her 5 kittens after insects, believing it would make them feel more at home, as their closest peers would be Specklebug's similarly named litter. Unfortunately, one of these kittens, Caterpillar Kit, was murdered. That was the kitten you saw earlier in StarClan with Specklebug. The remaining kittens, all Toms, are named Weevil Kit, Beetle Kit, Fly Kit, and Louse Kit. As always, huge thank you to everyone who joined and hung around this long. I look forward to next year.